Welcome to ItSpeaks. This is episode 6. I'm joined by no one today because I am still a little hungover from last night. A little bit of celebration for turning 20. Nothing too major. Short to Billy and everyone else who was there. It was a good night. But fuck you again, Billy, because I hate tequila. Shot to the boys for dragging me out till 2:30 a.m. after I got home from said party. And Fash Boy, no, sardines and cheese in a sandwich is not a good food to eat at any form or time, especially when you're drunk. Not good. But on today's list, it was my birthday on Friday, and I received some interesting gifts. I got a Bukowski novel, actually. It's called Post Office. It's quite an interesting read so far. It's not as cynical and depressing as I thought it would be. It revolves around a man called Harry Chinaski, but it's really just a synonym for him. It's a semi-autobiographical novel, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's basically he works on Christmases, and he just does a really leisurely job, which he gets paid well enough to do. There's a sense of loyalty, blah, 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 self-respect, and you can do extra work should you need to, and he does that, he drinks, and he has sex with women, and he seems happy. That's how far I've gotten in the book, which is 10 pages. I only just started reading it, but it's a pretty interesting read. I'm a fan of his poems primarily, but I'm giving everything of his a go. I figure it's a better idea too. There's this one, Unblinking Grief, very short, very depressing and cynical, but still one of my favorite poems. So I'll have to look it up for you at some point, but for now, I'm sure we'll find something else. I also watched Mr. Brooks today, again, but I figured it was about time that I review it. I mean, if for all my listeners who actually know me, they know I love this movie. It's one of my favorites, and that's for a good reason. The idea behind it is a pretty cool idea, and then it's just executed amazingly, so it works really well. For those of you who don't know, it's about a man called Earl Brooks, who not leads a double life, but he sure as hell has his problems. He's an addict, but to murder. He is a serial killer not by choice, but because he can't stop. But he's methodical, thorough, cleanly, and they describe him as a ghost more than anything in the film, or the police who monitor his crime scenes and stuff after and try to find him, they just nothing. And they're just like, well, may as well have been a ghost because you get more out of that. And it's like, yeah, that guy's good. So he's a middle-aged man, well, looking more towards 50. His daughter's in college, so it's about that time. Maybe he's a little older than that. But it's played by Kevin Costner. He's quite a good actor. Really, really does that character well. Part of the reason I actually started looking at the films he did, but it follows Kevin Costner as Earl Brooks, and at the beginning of the film, it says that the hunger returns to Mr. Brooks's brain. Of course, the hunger to kill, and it says how it never really left, which I like that. I thought that was a really good touch. But the first dialogue and the first appearance you see in the film is him. You see him in a bathroom. He's sweating. He's washing his face off, and he's doing a prayer to God to forgive him, forgive all what's happening, come to terms with how he is, and how to get past this affliction of his. And then he goes outside, and he's suddenly Man of the Year as a businessman, getting an award. And after this evening of fine dining, alcohol, and terrible jokes, he's driving home, and this is where you see, loosely termed, the hunger inside of him. And the way they manifested it was really interesting. They actually had an external character manifest as his dark side, I guess. It's horrible sounding, but the primitive, more animal, evil side of him. And it's it's played by this fellow. I don't know his name, but he does it stunningly, absolutely stunning counterpart. And he's called Marshall, and they have full-on conversations. Like, no one can see Marshall, and he's not schizophrenic or anything. These internal monologues are just his thoughts. He never speaks aloud to something that's not there. It shows his mindset that he's well in control, even if he's an addict. He doesn't see Marshall as a external force that's telling him to do things. It's literally, he knows exactly what it is. And I thought it was a really nice touch, because they hold entire conversations, and these are internal monologues for Kevin Costner. And through this time, only a second or two have passed. He thinks quick. He's a very intelligent man. But the scene, they're driving back, and he tilts the mirror to see behind him, get the proper angle, and then you see Marshall, his hunger, his addiction. You see that, and he's just saying, he's trying to tempt him into going in, killing a couple of people, because he knows exactly what he needs to do it. And Earl Brooks being clean for 2 years, which is revealed later, but he didn't kill for 2 years. He tried to stop, and he was doing okay. He's of course refusing, but it's a weak refusal. He caves very quickly. He just drops, and then he kills the dance couple, and that's he kills a couple who are at a dance class, and that's the end of the first scene. And it shows what happens when he kills someone. It's like an adrenaline rush. It's like someone shot heroin into him and removed the belt, and it's just boom, surged to his head, and he takes a deep breath. He kind of stumbles around a little bit, and he's just breathing in. Looks not ecstatic, but it's like a relief. Psychological need fulfilled relief, exactly like an addiction. So it's really nicely portrayed like that. But the first 10 minutes of the movie set up exactly what you're in for. But it's just stunningly good. I don't know. Some of it's not that great, but overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I don't want to go into too much more of it for those of you who haven't seen it, but I definitely recommend it. I mean, the first 10 minutes are just phenomenal if you want to see exactly what's happening. There's no ambiguity of what's going to happen and what you think would happen. They're pretty much on par. So it's not entirely predictable, but it's not ambiguous or unlinear in any way. You can see exactly what's going to happen if you think about it. I mean, there's a scene at the end as well. I can't give you spoilers, but it ends much the same as it begins. He's not in a bathroom praying to himself, trying to fight it. He wakes up from a very terrible nightmare, which you get a full scene of, which is really well done. Loved it. It played The Veils, Vicious Traditions of The Runaway Found. It's a good album, but it plays that through the whole thing and uses this flickering sort of slide in and out of focus, only very slightly, like it's just adjusting focus, but it's manually done to make it look that way. And through this entire nightmare, it's pretty brutal. And then he, of course, is having his nightmare. His wife wakes him. He's in bed, and it just he wakes up, but then he goes to lay back to sleep, and he just starts praying much the exact same prayer as before. So it's just the way he did it was really the way the beginning and ends. Like they do the exact same thing with he is trying to fight it right the way through the movie. He has to. It's all he can do. But I would definitely recommend it. I mean, just at least give it a go. And Casey, you have to get Christina onto watching it, because it is a fucking phenomenal movie. And if Christina starts listening to this podcast, which she won't, but if she hears it, because Casey, you show her, you know, she can blame it on me if she doesn't like it, but it's an amazing movie. Right. So, Birthday on Friday. Talked about Bukowski for a little bit. I can't really say too much more about Bukowski, considering I've read about half of one of his poem collections, and I'm 10 pages into his one of his novels. So I can't really give you any insight into the man or his writing, particularly since I'm pretty bad at analyzing stuff like that. So, just give it a go. I enjoyed it. It's deprecating and cynical as hell, but it's very not entertaining or amusing. I don't know. It's really a good read, though. Another one would, of course, be Hunter S. Thompson, Mr. Drug Addict Journalist Gonzo. I was tossing up between getting Bukowski's novel and getting Hunter S. Thompson's novels. I was considering getting his, I believe it was called Hell's Angels, and it's about a 6-month stint of Hunter S. Thompson riding with the Hell's Angels, learning about them, learning about the roots of the gang and stuff like that, and what it was all about and stuff. And I was like, it sounds fucking awesome, because it'd just be a drug-addled trip. I mean, it's great. So it's just I'm gonna have to read it at some point. But I did find out something interesting about one of his other books that's actually more of an article than anything. It's called. There's a movie of it called Where the Buffalo Roam, and it's based on an article he wrote as an obituary to his friend. But Where the Buffalo Roam, I personally prefer it. Everyone says, no, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, better, much better. And it's just, I disagree personally, because I enjoy Bill Murray's take on Hunter S. Thompson. He did it stunningly. And while I do like Johnny Depp's acting, I just don't think he didn't cut the fucking mustard. He just didn't cut it compared to Bill Murray. And I liked the way it was done. It had bloody Peter Boyle as his attorney, Carl Laszlo, who was also just as much of a drug-addled idiot, I guess. Also just as much of a free... Oh, fuck, I don't know what I'm saying about him, but just took as much drugs as Hunter S. Thompson did, but I'm guessing he's already dead. Right, what else was there? Yeah, I'm still hungover. Getting better. Lots of paracetamol. And no sardine and cheese sandwich, because I'm not an idiot. I just had a lot of Pepsi and some shit food. It worked. But I really don't have a lot to talk about. University's going pretty shit right now. I gotta be honest, I'm tired of the English paper and the business paper that I have to do, but Java's fine. Java's always interesting. But I did do some more work on my application, actually. The mobile phone app I'm building, it's coming along. I've added some new functions. It's increasing its functionality in terms of usability, and I'm slowly building a GUI for it, using the freeware NetBeans. You can literally draw the GUI and it will write the code, which is, in my opinion, quite nice. And it works for a lot of languages. I noticed you could set them up for anything from C to Python, really. I think they're Ruby on Rails or something in there, but yeah, they had a whole bunch of stuff. It was really nice. It was hard to learn to use, though. I had to look up tutorials just to set up the thing right. I couldn't get it. It was just really odd. But with that, I'm going to slowly turn it into a much more functional program instead of having to type out commands. So